Welcome everyone to the next episode of Talk to Me About, the podcast where we talk about your favorite characters and the people that love those characters more than anyone else. I am your host, Dee. Hello. I am here with my co-host today, Jay. Say hello, Jay.
Hello.
And I am here with 4 bedheads, certified bedheads of the bedhead cult, loving Bedman, or Romeo F. Newman. Let's start it off with Dio. Hi, Dio.
Hi, what's up?
Do you love him?
A very normal amount, yes. Both the bed siblings. I love them a very normal amount.
True.
Glad to hear it. Next up, we have a Bedman lore extraordinaire, the one, the only. You all know him, you all love him. Niad, hello.
Hey, that title belongs not to me. That one belongs to Xavier. I'll just stick around as like just D enthusiast. But like, I'm not gonna own any title that doesn't belong to me. Like, I might be knowledgeable and I might know a bit, but I don't know as much as so.
Let's see.
I guess next I'll introduce Xavier, the one, the only Bedman knowledge enthusiast extraordinaire. Did I say extraordinaire already? Well, there he is.
A few people can be extraordinary.
I am the walking encyclopedia.
How are you doing today?
I'm cold.
Very appropriate. Very appropriate. True.
And last but not least, we have Toxic Pyro, the one and only YouTuber and also Bedman extraordinaire. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing good.
You watched Xrd story recently, right?
Yeah, I finished Xrd, all of it, yeah.
I love that.
Finally,
story.
you're a certified 100% stamp on top Bedman enthusiast.
Finally.
Alright, let's play some fucking Xrd. So I guess I'll start off with the question. When you saw the character select screen, when you were just browsing Guilty Gear, when you were just doing whatever, and you saw him, what made you look at him? What made you say, this is the guy for me? This little freak? This is it.
Well, I actually am very broke, so the only Guilty Gear game I really have is Strive, but I think my love for this tiny little Reddit child really started because of... kind of started originally with Delilah with another story, because I was like, I knew about Delilah, but I didn't really know much about her brother, so that kind of just, then it just evolved into me being very normal about them both.
I agree. I am so in for Delilah. I was already interested in Bedman before I properly met Delilah in another story, and I had been spending a lot of time imagining what Delilah would be like because I was really excited by what she could do, and if she would go after revenge in the same way that her brother did. And I'm really happy with how another story ended up, and I really like how much Romeo ties into what Delilah is too. So
yeah.
Xavier, I know you are extremely into Bedman, so what started this for you?
My friends hid him from me for years. They
hid him?
You have been friends with him since 2015. That have
Very like truth that was not supposed to be recovered.
It's HBO Warcrime that they kept this godlike character from you.
They were like, this guy is going to ruin his life. We can't let him know.
So how did you feel when you actually did meet him then?
Oh my god. It happened basically on my birthday. So I gave it to you as a gift from the universe.
Oh, the greatest gift of all!
Oh shit.
Oh fuck, I messed that up. You were in dizzy state and I fucked it up, damn it. God, I gotta say, Bedman is so fun to mash buttons on.
Xrd in particular is like a really just mashable game.
All of his animations are funny as hell.
So, Niad,
Yeah.
yeah, I know Bedman is your huge brand. Where did it come from for you?
So I wasn't around for the sign release, but a couple buddies of mine when Revelator released on Windows in I think it was 2016. They invited me and gave me the game. I'm like, okay, cool. Who do I play in this game? Like everybody like, okay, cool. Pooq guy. You got guy with big sword. But I've always been one of those monster characters. Like you know what I mean? I've always been like, okay, you know what? Give me like something esoteric, something out of the
Gee,
norm.
I wonder
Out
why the
comes this
Vel'Koz
motherfucker
main in
with the
League
bed.
plays
I'm like,
Bedman.
this looks mighty interesting. Who's this guy? And they start talking. I'm like, okay, that's how I got started.
And Toxic, what was it for you? I know, like, you say Faust is your favorite character ever, but I think you also have a huge video that's like, hey, why Bedman is, like, perfect. What was it for you?
So I started with Strive, and then I went back and played all the old games, and then I come to Xrd, and I'm just like, I just look across like the character select screen. I'm like, this guy's just asleep. Like, what, huh? How does he work? And then like you gotta try him, and then I'm like characters I like are kind of like set play zoners, and Bedman is kind of the most set play you could possibly have. You literally get to place like special moves on them, and you can throw them like holograms.
Yeah, it's really cool. He's like really esoteric with everything he does. I wanted to ask this question because I am not familiar the most with Xrd. I watch a lot of Xrd content, and I've watched a lot of top 8s, and I've watched players talk about Bedman, and I've definitely watched quite a bit of GC Yoshi too. But I have to ask, what is Bedman in this game? I've heard he's a zoner. I've heard he has set play. I've seen the joke that he's also a grappler. Like, what is he?
He's just a Bedman.
Okay, so the thing about Bedman, you know how zoners like try to play in a specific playstyle because it makes them win. Bedman has to play like a zoner sometimes because otherwise he loses. So it's not that he is good at zoning, it is that he is very bad at interacting with neutral because he doesn't have a traditional air dash, he doesn't have a traditional anti-air, and a lot of this like a very recurring problem in his game plan is that if he wants reward, he needs to put down a lot of risk on the table before he's like, okay, you know, I want to do something, but I'm also putting my life on the line. Like, there's never really like a really safe thing you can do with Bedman that also cashes out a lot. So the safest thing is to just throw head, and then capitalize on how it returns to you and how pressure establishes.
Isn't that interesting how that the same exact thing happened with Strive, where it's like, Bedman's not particularly good at anything, but you can spam Spike a lot of the time.
Exactly. Some people thought like, oh wow, Bedman is just a zoner in Strive, and it's like, okay, his zoning is broken. Like, look at this, he outzones Happy Chaos. A few moments later, oh, it's like,
dude, as an Eno main, nothing kills me more than seeing Bedman not even be a great zoner, like a fake zoner, and then I go onto Eno Discord, and then I go onto tier list, and I see, oh yeah, Bedman wins the Eno matchup because Eno loses into everyone. Not anymore though.
It's like same shit, different.
So despite all the glaring gameplay flaws, then I suppose, where it's like the risk and reward is so heavily skewed, what keeps you guys interested in Bedman on a gameplay perspective?
He's so fucking fun.
Whether that's for Strive or
uniqueness, and you could show me all 9, because like Bedman kind of works like a Megazord, where you could show me gameplay of a like a good Bedman player, and I'd be saying that's Ashihana, that's Kazuri, that's GCO, that's Rift.
I fucking love when you can tell someone's gameplay.
Look at gameplay, and I can color aside. That is how personality-driven Bedman can be played. That's what I love about.
All right, now you gotta tell me, what are the colors of the pro players? Go.
Drifter Dang uses 6, the gray one. GC Yoshi uses 4, which is the black and red and silver one. Ashihana uses default, and those are like the big three. I know that Bedman has like a lot of colors that fall into like the same spectrum for me because I'm colorblind, so I don't know how much agency I'm allowed to have about the subject.
So can you not see red or green or?
It's like I think they use 13.
Get away! No, Hemijack, no!
Like very popular.
Oh fuck!
But
please.
Bedman players have specific colors, and in specific, color 4 is only for the strongest Bedman players. Like that's what GC Yoshi
You have to earn it.
No, that's what you pick if there's not your color, because a lot of the times you only have to base 6
like in the
colors,
same way that color white for Johnny is only Omito's color.
Kinda, yeah. In that case, it's like, KB Nova, that's it. That's KB Nova's color. Not GC Yoshi's. GC Yoshi uses 13. KB Nova, who is like, I think he was the best Bedman in his prime. He used 4. And Siyu, who's like another Japanese player, he uses also 4. They're both really strong, so it's like associated with like Color 4 at this point.
I think it's so cool that. Oh, do you wanna, Niad? Do you wanna play against me?
Sure.
I think it's so cool that you guys know, like, so intimately the other top Bedman players. Obviously, it might be because, you know, Bedman isn't the most popular character, so that he doesn't have the most amount of names. But I think the fact that you guys listed off so many, and, like, the fact that you guys all have memories, like, or of their playstyles and how they work, just shows, like, how connected they are to Bedman the character, which is super cool.
I mean, if you want proof regarding that, like, it's a joke in the Japanese scene that Bedman players end up marrying each other, because I think it happened really recently. But
Xavier told me about
this
it.
This is like a
only
recurring
date other
thing where
Bedman
two Bedman
players.
players is like, yeah, you the one for me. I'm like, okay.
That's so sweet, though. We both love the insane person together. We're both in set play zone or hell together. Arm in arm, hand in hand.
I think, owing to the fact that, like, Bedman is, like, such a weird character and isn't very great at a lot of things, it really forces you to be creative and really make him your own, which is part of the fun, and kind of Xavier was saying also, just, like, he looks really fun, too. So it only makes sense to me that two very creative people would wind up together, even if they're not playing the same Bedman. They're like, oh, you have the capacity.
I mean, good taste is good.
Exactly,
taste, right?
yeah. But I just wanted to circle back really quick. The thing that drew me to Bedman back when I was playing Xrd, because he was actually one of my favorite characters to pick, even though I can consistently not do anything on him, is just the fact that I think there is a huge appeal to me for that, like, weird little nerd boy Shinibu character that you see represented in a few fighting games. I think there's, like, a Blaze Blue that's the same. But I really loved, before I even knew anything about Bedman
recently, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Before I even knew anything about Bedman's lore, that it's like, oh, there's this like little nerd kid, and he doesn't even need to wake up to fight people. That's crazy. Little did I know he was cursed because he was too smart that he has to stay in a room or whatever. But
He has to sleep.
Bro went to bed at 12 and like, yep, that's it.
Something that drew me initially to Bedman, first I'm gonna say the embarrassing thing, and then I'll say the cool thing. The embarrassing thing is that he strikes me a lot as the same archetype of character as Komaeda Nagito and Kokichi Oma.
Oh my god!
the viewership is gone.
Uttered those names.
I'm sorry.
If I speak, I'll be a big fan.
It's okay, I take all shame for that. I'm not into Danganronpa anymore, but I can't deny that, like, I found them very similar. It's like, oh, these are the characters that know everything, that have a secret plan going on, that are probably gay, but, like...
Probably?
Most likely. 100% certain.
It's the dog, I know what you are, but it's Robo-Kai.
Yeah.
I'm too busy with murder, bro.
Oh my god.
I don't care to think about all that.
Fuck, I got perfected. But the other cool thing is the fact that I think he's so enigmatic and nothing makes sense about him. First of all, he's called Bedman, but then you look at him and he's got like very childlike proportions, but then you see his age and he actually is like an adult kind of, and it's like, okay, and he's fighting in this, he's this big vicious monster creature, but then you see there's this very frail looking like guy on the center of the bed. He's asleep, but he's also the most awake person I've ever seen in my life. You think he's doing absolutely nothing, but then, like, he's just constantly
doing everything?
Yes. I think the fact that he's so quiet, he doesn't speak at all in Xrd Sign's story, and then you go into his dream world, and he talks so much, and he's actually a huge redditor, like...
Yeah.
Actually, I have
Wait, you want to know
comments.
something? Like, it's a constant joke of people saying that, Bedman is a redditor. I am a firm believer that Delilah would have a
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Tumblr.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
She would have a Tumblr.
I'm just...
They'd have like a no, not a Tumblr. We gotta stake it one step. They'd have a Neo. Online diary.
Sign
Alright,
the
so-
address book.
I gotta ask the most important question. If Romeo was to play a
Oh,
video
God.
game, what would he play?
Bro, play Pokemon and then get mad about Pokemon games. I think.
I feel like he'd
That's
be
a
like...
good question.
He would get like shiny hacks or something and like have like a team of full shinies, full IVs and stuff, and he'd be like, I perfectly trained them so that they can destroy you, and it's like not even a really competitively viable team.
Bedman,
I think he would like hack his Pokemon to have like infinite.
Bedman
IVs.
grinds like the custom nights in all the Five Nights at Freddy's games.
He's like, my fucking Kamala can beat like your Arceus. What about it?
Hold on, real quick. We gotta stop 1 second. I just saw this button. This is the silliest button I've seen in my life.
Do 6P. Do 6P.
Okay.
Like you see how he like moves off the floor with like the main bed body. He goes over lows if you do that.
What? That's so weird.
So this will beat your 2K.
No way!
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Alright, you can continue beating my ass now.
Let's go.
Back to our regularly scheduled programming.
I think I told you guys before, but I think he's absolutely like playing those like mobile games where it's like he's just like the kind of mindless ones where it's like they've got strategy to them, like 2048. I think he's like
Oh my god, yes.
min-maxing stuff. He's making spreadsheets for things.
For real. I swear, I play 2048 when I'm like bored during like school, and I swear it puts me in some sort of like neurodivergent trance.
Yeah, that's true.
I think if the circumstances were better, Sin would have came up to Bedman and been like, "Yo, dude, I just found this really cool, awesome game. It's called like the watermelon game. You want to play?" And then Bedman comes back like 20 hours later. I fully calculated the way to get the watermelon.
I've literally solved the game. I have solved the game.
Bedman would learn games specifically to beat people at them.
I have solved your conundrum. I've done your problem. It's easy. I've done it already. And he's like, "Oh, I thought you were like, was it fun?" And he's like, "What do you?"
Like fun? What's that?
Yeah, Xavier's right. Nerd games to beat people at them.
And that's another cool thing too, is the fact that in essence with his enigmatic nature is the fact that you constantly think he's this big, evil, horrendous villain monster in the story, only to find out just at the very end, no, he's a good person. He's just trying to help his family the same as anyone else.
I mean, good person.
He's still like a sadist.
Yeah.
True.
Straight up
He was the best
just
guy
because.
around. Look at all the people he murdered. What murder? It's true, but like...
He was so
It's
ready to kill him.
True.
Zara,
Yeah.
it's too much. But it's too much to ask. Just go back to being dead. He was so ruthless.
Yeah, he was.
We have got to talk about how both Zato and Leo
It's
and
something about the
Johnny and
blondes.
I'm forgetting someone else.
It's the
Are just
blonde
answer. All want him dead. They're like, you need to die. You need to get out.
I need this guy killed. Clean shot.
Death.
Clean
Death.
shot.
Clean shots. I like his relationship with the Valentine.
Yes.
Like all of them too. It's not even that one is like no. It's like no. He treats Alpha like differently than Ramlafal, who he treats differently than Jacko. And I think his interaction with Jacko is actually really fucking cool because it shows inside of Guilty Gear that like the developers are like, well, no character has like so much knowledge about the backyards that they can like talk about these kind of subjects, except for Asuka. Like, you know, Asuka's like enigmatic and like a villain, so we can't really have him get all the exposure. And then like Bedman and Jacko are just like, yeah, by the way, string theory and shit like that. Am I right? And like, oh,
You're
damn.
so right. And I had read these and I completely forgot it, but I think it is really cool that they both explore that angle of things where it's like, oh, these are two characters that know everything that's going on and it's up to them if they want to share that knowledge with you. And like Bedman is scared from Jacko and is also like kind of like remorseful for her childlike side and is like, because as we all know, fuck, I can only think of the TikTok guy being like, as we all know.
As we all know. He's dead hockey.
Fuck. Oh no, I lost what I was gonna say. Damn it, ADHD.
Feeling remorseful for the childlike side of Jack.
Right, we all know that Bedman treats young child's characters differently than anyone else, you know? He treats Elfel, May, and even Jacko's childlike side differently to an extent because he cares so deeply for Delilah and he emphasizes, what's the word? Empathizes.
Yeah, like he's never like demeaning towards May, for example.
I wanna watch you guys. I gotta take a break.
Okay.
But yeah.
That is so real, like, I swear, like... Man, I'm just gonna...
Like even on the character select screen, like the Bedman system voice, like he's like has something funny to say about every single character except like Ramlafal, May, and Elfo. That's
Yeah,
it.
he's like, that's May. That's Elfo.
May,
or
I
I think he's
believe?
like, hey, that's the sad child or something like that.
Yeah, like unfortunate child.
Going back to Bedman's gameplay, just like when I was playing like Xrd like on my PlayStation in
That grab does so much damage.
yeah. like just like going through the character roster, like learning Bedman like through the arcade mode and stuff. He is one of the most fun times I have had just like learning a fighting game character from scratch, because it's like you have all these specials and then you can like replay them, and like the boomerang head, you can just throw it out and it comes back, and it's just people don't know what to do, so you just get a lot of like it's just really fun.
Yeah,
because
I think it's like Bedman, more than any other character, fits so perfectly with his own personality, because every the whole deja vu mechanic and the error mechanic, it makes you feel stupid, like, oh, you fell right into my trap.
Yeah, no, he is designed to make you feel like a 400 IQ like genius.
Yeah.
Yeah, and,
Like
and honestly, him being low tier kind of helps in that, because you actually have to be.
But like even like his dash, like if you hit it on like certain frames where he's like glitchy, like teleports behind you, like nothing personnel, kid.
Bedheads, I must call upon you all to ask a very important question. Why does he wear glasses?
You can have bad eyesight from birth.
He needs
He
them.
probably just did.
Why do I wear
For
glasses?
the aesthetic, I guess.
Yeah. No, he's a dweeb.
He's a fan.
He just does.
He just do.
Exactly.
If I was omnipotent, but glasses, if glasses look that good on me, I wouldn't fix my eyesight.
Yeah, it's crazy. He does make the big circular dweebazoid glasses work.
Oh, and while I just saw it myself, and I just remembered, Toxic, I thought you had a really, really cool, small little analysis of Bedman's intro in your video. If you would love to, like, talk about that, because I thought it was so cool.
Because, like, it just rolls up to the camera, like, it does so much to, like, explain the character to you, if, like, you've never seen it. Like, how does this man fight if he is asleep? And the bed, like, the bed just rolls up to the camera, and then, like, it grows wheels, and then, like, it, like, rises up, and then it's, like, it, like, zooms in on Bedman's face, and I said, like, usually I feel like in most media, like, they would have Bedman, like, open his eyes, like, for that, like, close-up shot, to, like, show that he's, like, ready for battle or anything, but, like, no, he's asleep, his eyes are dead closed.
I think it really helps, like, emphasize the horror aspects. Like, I think with Bedman, above all else, besides the, you fell right into my trap nerd thing, is that he's meant to be, like, a horror amalgamation. Like, I get a lot of Frankenstein, zombie vibes, and, like, hospital ghost stuff from him, like, especially with his stage in Nightmare Theater, with the whole background story being a small girl in a hospital that then goes on a murder rampage with a stuffed bear, and the fact that Bedman and Strive was directly inspired by Annabelle, the horror movie.
Yeah.
I think,
that gave me whiplash. I didn't even know that till recently, and I was like, oh. Oh.
Yeah, it's cool when Japanese directors actually, like, intake Western media like that and reflect it. Like, I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, like, Bedman being this whole, like, and he's wearing a hospital gown, too. Like, everything about him is just meant to evoke, like, sickness, horror,
Daisuke has said that himself.
Like,
he made Bedman and everything surrounding Bedman like a stage to invoke as much thinking as possible.
I think it's
like he has said, like we want you to overthink everything when you look at this character.
I think it shows with like how his fans are and how much there is to discover with him. That like this guy came out 7, maybe 5 years ago, and people are still finding new details, whether that's in gameplay, in his design, in his story, to this day. Like, he makes the most expressions out of any other Guilty Gear character. He has a lot going on, both in terms of story and his design, and it's like, we don't know what his past is, but we can spend forever analyzing what it could be because of the details that he lines up for himself and that Daisuke writes in, and I think he's such a wonderful character because of it.
I know, yeah.
I think,
and kind of adding on to like the horror-esque vibe he gives off. I feel like it's he also kind of gives off almost a Nightmare on Elm Street type of vibe with like his like instant kill.
His one screen where he like covers up the camera.
Yeah, his face is like this goddamn close to it. Okay. And
it's like scary that he does so many things that are out of comprehension too, like the whole deja vu mechanic, the whole I'm going to attack you within your dreams, the whole like there's something really cool I like too, and I think we've probably seen it on the screen already, but like when Bedman wins a round, he will then turn around sometimes to the camera, use his hand, touch you, the camera, fourth wall, and put like this black glop over everything because you are not allowed to see what he does next. You are not allowed to see the horror that's about to happen. And I think it's so cool that, like, Bedman is the only character within all of Guilty Gear that acknowledges that it's a video game, or that, like, you are looking at him. He acknowledges the fourth, what's it called? The fourth wall. Like, in his arcade mode, he specifically does a monologue to no one but himself, and then turns around to the camera and says, well, wouldn't you agree? On his basis of what
But I feel like that could also just be like, ooh, I'm so cool. Look at me, I'm cool. I'm so smart. As I talk to the shampoo bottle in my, like, I'm not talking to God when I like have a discussion with my shampoo bottle about like how I should have done something differently. Like, you know, I think it's just him like just feeling himself. I'm not sure that's fourth wall. Like this thing with the camera, yeah, 100%. But
yeah,
I feel like that's just him like just. Just feeling himself.
I also wanted to bring this up, and Dio, you can get involved with this a bit too. In the circle, I think it's really interesting that Bedman has so much religious horror too. Like, he's the only character that really seems to acknowledge God, and is like constantly in his death-like state, or whatever unknown state he is in within Strive, that he's just constantly asking God, do you see the radiant light? Can you hear the beautiful chant? Like, he's like scared and alone. His song is one of the scariest things to really sit down and think about.
Low-key, yeah, that's why I love it so much, because I just love like picking all the lyrics apart and being like, oh my, like, it might be like referencing this, or this lyric might be referencing that. Like, I just love that song so much because of it. And because it's also a fucking banger. It's just... Oh man.
No, go burst! Save me, go burst!
I got around. Let's go.
No.
Welcome back, gamers. We experienced some technical difficulties, but that's okay, because Romeo also did have technical difficulties coming into Strive, so...
He did.
On brand.
I mean, we're just error 6E. Fine.
We experienced a real-life error 6E.
Yeah, now we're doing it again. Okay. So let's find a topic to talk about.
I want to bring up the fact that I think one of my favorite I say this is my favorite moment quite often, but I really do have a lot of favorite moments. But I think this is definitely in the top 3 of the entirety of Guilty Gear's narrative, is the moment when Bedman sits down and has a conversation with Axel fucking Low.
Oh my god!
Yes.
That fucking scene haunts me in my sleep. I have ripped that scene apart with my bare hands.
I hold it desperately in my hands, I coo, and I look at it, and I'm like, I kiss this scene goodnight every night.
That's wrong, I just fucking eat it.
It's really nice to see, because on the Guilty Gear power scale, Axel is like up there, but Bedman is like up there. So like Axel knowingly puts himself in danger in order to like have that talk, but it doesn't
Even
really matter to him.
like,
he just does it anyways because he feels like
him.
it's the good thing to do. And I think that's really cool.
That's... You know, Romeo really needed a moment like that to see, like, hey, humanity is not all these horrible people that just want to hurt me and my sister. There are good people that all have their own desires and dreams as well. And obviously Romeo, after this Axel conversation, doesn't heed Axel's advice exactly. And obviously he helps Axel out here, but he doesn't help himself here. And he fails to heed what the correct advice would have been to allow people to have their own dreams too, and to not be so laser-focused. And it leads to his demise, to Robokai and Venom, which is also a top 5 scene in all of Guilty Gear, funnily enough.
That scene. That scene sucks dick. My favorite character dies in that scene.
It's so weird how Robokai can blow up in his face, and yet is one of the nicest characters to Bedman. Like, he even sort of says he thinks he's a nice guy, and then he just blows up in his face. That's basically...
I think that's really funny, but it kind of gets lost on me personally, because it's not like the guy lives afterwards to like reflect, like, I was kind of cringe in that moment. I guess I shouldn't have done. No, he just fucking dies. Like, he doesn't get an opportunity to learn.
To bring this up at some point in the podcast, and I guess now would be a good time. Do you think, and I've asked a lot of people, I've asked a lot of polls, maybe you guys have even voted on them, and it's something I have a lot of feelings about. How do you guys feel about Romeo's death? Which is a huge part of his character, and happened Do you think it was a good death that was good for his character? Do you think he had to die, or do you think there was a bit moot because he doesn't really fully take in the lessons that RoboKai gives him there?
I think it's none of the
It's definitely it's definitely tragic. Like, it's just, I literally just ranted about it in my analysis. I'm like, I feel like his death is kind of like one of the reasons why I'm like, I feel like he's a villain, yes, but I'm like, he's kind of like a very morally gray, you know, to me. It's just because, like, he to an extent had good intentions. Yeah, he killed people, but like, people suck. So
yeah. He did spend the entire of his life, right, being mistreated by others. We don't know to what extent his past was at all, and he never lets us get an indication of what that past was. All we know is that he faced a deep hurt, and that he never wanted to have that same hurt for Delilah, but she's experiencing a pain even deeper than his, and he wants to help her no matter what. And the fact that he was so willing to kill... I don't even know what Guilty Gear's population is after the end of the Crusades, but the fact that he's willing to kill thousands and hundreds of thousands of people all for one person without even considering once, like, hey, maybe I should get their help to help Delilah. He just assumes everything on his own, and he's so blind to how people really are that he sides with the universal will, who he believes is a good person because he doesn't...
know.
But that is all. But that is a very interesting part of his character, though, because. Part of the reason why Bedman thinks killing is okay is because he has he remembers all their names. So in his he has been tricked by the universal will to believe that, okay, if I achieve this absolute world with the universal will, which I could do myself, but I'll die if I do it, and I don't want to die, so I need her help. So if we achieve absolute world, I'll just bring everybody back. I know everybody's names, and he even says to Ariels, like, okay, we will contract like the Phalanx, like the Swiss.
Yeah.
And he even tells Ariels, you know what? Fine, give me their names though. Like he's very concerned with like the lives that he does take off the census. He always remembers them so he can put them back. Like he can bring them back. I really like in
that small moment too is that Ariels kind of scoffs at him for the names, but like she does comply with it, but she scoffs because she's the one that knows. Oh, this is all moot anyways. I'll just play along with his little delusion. He's working for me.
Okay, I'm gonna go on a rant here. Sorry, but
I had a whole thing in my notes.
I know this isn't the Ariels episode, but she's such a fascinating character. But that's beside the point. One of my favorite things about him is that, in a sense, I feel like he's kind of an ironic character. What I mean by this is that his win code against May is he doesn't get people that are motivated by love, even though he himself is motivated by love, like familial love. Like, man, like he himself is a person who's motivated by love to an extent, because everything he did for Delilah. I rest my case.
He's very much like Cyrus from Pokemon. He's absolutely just Cyrus. Like, he's Cyrus too, pretty much. Even like the whole hypocrite thing, because Cyrus is all like, you know, the bonds between people and Pokemon, useless, all of that's useless. But he has a Crobat, which is a Pokemon that evolves by friendship.
I really like that.
They're on like a similar path, and they end up at the same conclusion, which is just wipe the universe.
So, like, the big theme of at least Xrd and mostly Strive is that, like, humans need to overcome struggles in order for them to be, like, human. That's, like, what makes us human. That's how we grow. And Bedman sees struggle in the world, and he wants to stop it from happening, but he doesn't realize that that is, again, what makes people human. It reiterates the theme that, like, we have to overcome our struggles, but Bedman can't understand this because he's in a dream.
I mean, I don't think that's really applicable, because if bro is suffering, I think he has like an excuse to like, hey yo, can I stop suffering? You know, it's like.
I would say though, Bedman is aware that suffering is necessary for a person, and I think the interesting part of his character is that he both believes suffering is necessary and also doesn't believe suffering is necessary, because you have to consider too, when he sees Ramlethal, what does he do? He, instead of completing his orders and killing her and remembering her name, he realizes, oh, this is a person, she doesn't understand what her worth is, she doesn't understand that how suffering is necessary. What does he do? Kills her dog, makes her acknowledge that everything is a unique, special being, and that she, like, that's how you grow. How does he start his arcade mode? Well, he's like, talking about Delilah's life through the analogy of a stray cat. The stray cat that lives indoors might be happy, but will never know the difficulties and challenges of life that build its character. But the cat that lives on the outside of the house will always face struggles and strife and will not always be healthy and happy, but maybe they'll discover what it means to be themselves and find happiness through that process. He fully understands and commits to this idea that suffering is a necessary aspect of humanity. However, he's also the same exact person that when he finds out what the Universal Will's plan is, Ariel's, for humanity, where all of humanity will be remade into Elfelt's image and that there will be an ultimate human, what does he do? He tries to make Elfelt sleep through it all, because he does not comprehend and does not want her to experience a world where there is suffering and she is alone, because that is the same thing Delilah is going through. He does not want the same world that Delilah has gone through, where she just lives inside this house and hasn't experienced anything in the world. So he's like, Elfelt, I will give you your dreams. I will give you a guy that wants to chase after you. I will let you marry anyone you want. You just don't have to wake up, please. And her response to that is she's like, no, I do want to wake up. I have things that I have to get back to no matter how painful it is. I must get back to this. And
another part of the reason why he does that to Elfelt is because Elfelt is like the oh shit, knockdown. Is like Elfelt is like the like the new like vessel for justice. So like they're also trying to be like, okay, well I gotta get rid of this vessel somehow, you know? Because if justice like comes about, even though it's just like a distraction at this point, it's still really important that doesn't happen. So he's like stuck between a rock and a hard place, because he does really want Elfelt to like grow as a person, but Sis is also a super weapon. So like what do you do in this scenario?
Man's real problem isn't that he thinks suffering isn't necessary or that suffering is necessary. I think Bedman's whole problem, and the biggest thesis of Revelator specifically, is that he thinks he cannot make choices. Every choice he makes the opposite choice as well. He always goes against himself, goes against his word, all because he's selfish, but he's also selfless completely. He cannot commit to one singular thing. What he thinks is that one singular thing is saving Delilah at all costs, but it's a very complicated situation that he goes through, and he does it by breaking his own morals and killing other people just to save one. And Revelator is all about making the choices that you think are right above all else, and the fact that Romeo just has no consideration for others is a betrayal of that, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And I'm free to, if you guys disagree with that, I'd love to hear, if you do.
No, I was like silently losing my mind. No, sorry, you're gonna...
No, you can go ahead, I'm just thinking.
I was like silently losing my mind, because I was like, you get me. You are so right. I completely agree.
I'm glad, thank you. I really like Romeo, so...
He's very swag.
No, I was just going to say one of the most compelling things to me about Bedman is, we're often talking about how he's a really, paradoxical character and that there's a lot that's ambiguous about him. I love that he is simultaneously, like we've mentioned already, one of the most knowledgeable people about the mechanics of the world of Guilty Gear, but also, incredibly naive to a childlike extent with the amount of faith that he puts into Ariel's just arbitrarily, right? I feel like it's, in that way, a really good representation of what it's actually like to be, kind of a neurodivergent savant person, as someone who I would regard myself, if I could say a little bit, I don't know, arrogantly, I would consider myself a neurodivergent savant person, because it's I could solve a differential equation and tell you the organic chemistry underlying cellular respiration, but I don't know how to drive right, and I can't figure out where things are in my own house. And I think it's a testament to the kind of way that you are forced to live life when these are the set of skills that you're handed, right? Is that Romeo is an incredible pragmatist, where he's I have this perfect plan that I can assemble, and I know exactly what's going to happen and how that's going to happen. And I think it's also really heavily informed by a desire to have control over his own life again, because I think that's a really necessary component, because we're talking about how the dream worlds relieve people of fear and suffering, but also that Romeo believes in the importance of fear and suffering. I think more than that, it's he wants to be able to make sure bad things aren't happening under his watch, more generally. And I know
he very much tries to act as God, which I think is also related to the circle where he's facing the wrath of God, because he's realizing the one thing I wanted in my life was to have control over things at any cost. Now I am stuck in a situation where I have zero control over everything.
Yeah,
Because I dead.
I don't agree
because
with that.
Kind of
You don't agree?
No, I don't think I
I
agree.
think it's a really interesting point where Bedman is a character that just talks constantly. It's his one character trait in this game that he just lets out a giant ball of text after whenever he speaks. In the arcade mode, if you make Bedman the announcer, his line for when there's 10 seconds left to select your character is 30 seconds long.
Yeah.
And then in Strive, he just cannot speak for himself anymore. I think that's a really interesting choice.
Yeah, there's the one garbly robot line, which I thought was cool, but
Okay, the bed in Strive, it does have a voice. You can't hear it. It's roars and stuff, but it does make noise. And I love how the bed is organic too.
it's very good.
Evangelion shit.
No, it's always been able to make noises, but it just kind of hasn't done much. I do think it's its own creature, but it's very quiet. I think it might be shy, if anything.
I think I don't know.
Aww.
I just think it's a robot that also has organic parts. That's what I think.
I can't remember who it was. It may have been Niad, but you said you disagreed. Could I hear what your disagreement was?
It was 2 minutes ago. What was the topic again? For the specific the point you tried to
Jay?
make?
Him wanting to have control over the world.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. Otherwise, he wouldn't be acting like an assassin and not be meddling with any business unless especially told by Aerials.
Is this related to him
I wouldn't say that he's a god because he doesn't go out of his way to make sure that he establishes control of a situation. He tries to disrupt situations more than take control of them because that's his order. I don't think I feel like if he felt more I feel like if he felt more important than that, he might be self-centric to a degree, but I don't think that he has a god complex.
Oh no, I wasn't trying to assert that
tries
he
to act as
himself
god.
Yeah, no, not that he believed himself to be a god, oh, I'm this important. More so that he's, despite being so sadistic, is also really deeply empathetic for people in situations similar to himself and Delilah. And once he's able to project that onto someone, he's oh, holy shit, I gotta help them out. Dee was mentioning earlier, the way that he treats Ramlethal, and I think yourself and Dio mentioning the way that he treats all the Valentines. When it's oh, you're also a victim of circumstances outside of your control, and you're having your life taken away from you, or you're being forced to do things that you don't want to do. Now I have full sympathy. Let me do something that's going to help you. He directly defies his orders from Aerials, you both mentioned, to help out Ramlethal for this exact reason. Because oh, you're like me. So I think that's what the absolute ideal world is to him, more than just helping Delilah. Okay, give everybody an opportunity to suffer, but also to know that for his own self-edification, okay, at least it's not happening under my watch. If I have the ability to stop this, I can do that. And then it still feels very kind of savant but childlike naivete that he just kind of defers to Aerials on all that. Oh, well, this person is the closest thing to a religious god. Clearly, she's going to be absolute good. I've known distrustful.
I mean, he did.
But there's also the part
okay,
too where he doesn't-
I'll jump in here because
Not to
that's
interrupt,
not
but,
really what happened. Because what happened is that Bedman was stuck in his own dream, just like how Delilah used to be, and the Universal Will reached out to him while he was in an inert state and offered him an out. So it's not like he had the choice to keep living in unexistence or to accept their help. And at that point, it's how much can if that happened to me, I'd also think they would be a good person because they just helping me out, you know?
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? That
not
exact situation happened to Happy Chaos. That's the exact same monologue he has, where it's hey, I was trapped in a small white room with no exits, and then suddenly a door appears. What do you think you would do? And he describes that, hey, this is what Eno goes through. Hey, this is what all of humanity goes through. We're all trapped in these little white rooms, and as soon as we get that door, we try to exit and experience, true suffering outside of our little shelter. And that is exactly what Romeo went through, so I can see why he feels so euphoric, and maybe why he even takes a pleasure in some of the violence he commits, knowing that he thinks he can just immediately erase it, but...
I think
but
I've actually thought a lot about why he's a sadist.
Happy Chaos kind of crazy though.
Not to interrupt, but should we switch to Strive?
No.
We can if you want to.
No.
I have thought a lot about why Bedman is a sadist, and he mentions that the only impact he could leave on the world was death.
It's like I think when it's the only thing he
No, and the
can
reason
do,
why is because he has the
he'll just
situation with Ramlethal.
gravitate to an attachment to it.
I feel like his situation with Ramlethal and giving Elfald a way out outside of death, not killing Jacko, and having the whole like relationship with like how he treats Ramlethal, about having her teach her something that's like outside of the curfew of like, I mean, yeah, sure, he kills a puppy, but like he doesn't kill Ramlethal. He does it because he wants to show how unique the world can be, like how every odd creature is unique. So I don't think that, but I haven't thought about that subject. I wanted to say something earlier about the what I think about his death, because
Yes,
we kind of switch topics kind of quickly.
It's fine.
I feel like the real reason why Bedman died is because the story writers figured out that, okay, we have this powerful as shit character who has killed like millions and millions of people. How do we solve this problem? Because in Guilty Gear, a lot of the times there's a really powerful person. It's either like Ino is really powerful, but she's always been an antagonist. Okay, cool. Ariel's really powerful, but she's always been an antagonist. So this character that goes against antagonists, like, how do we... Okay, so they have the choice of like, okay, so we either make Bedman join the protagonists, which means that they will have so much fucking like manpower to end the fucking like the controversy of like everything that's going on in the Guilty Gear world that it kind of trivializes the rest of the characters, or we just kill him and make that like him being so strong not matter because he died. I think like the real reason why he got killed off in Revelator is because that like the story directors just did not know how to make his power curve fit into the story without fucking it up. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's true.
If that was the problem, I don't know if that's exactly accurate though, because I think it's very purposeful that the way Bedman gets erased is through Venom and Robokai, who at the time were completely meaningless characters that did nothing. And what I mean by that is that Venom had no purpose. At that point in the story, like, everyone else in the Assassin's Guild had something going on, but Venom never had a purpose or something to do. Venom was always a tortured soul kind of character, where he had no purpose, he was always just going along with things, and then when he suddenly became in charge of the Assassin's Guild, he doesn't really control it to do anything. He's always just tagging along with people, he never really has his own thoughts on things, even though he clearly despises the work that he does. And Robokai, quite literally, is a redundant copy of another person, the exact thing that Ariel's and that Bedman are so afraid of, like a quite literally meaningless person, but is the most human character on the cast by far, who, like, you know, talks about sex, you know, he's living as a bum.
Loves women, hates women, he has it all, I get it.
He does his laundry, he has hobbies, and I think it's really important that Robokai gives Venom a purpose, and that they both use this to then go up to the person who is so defined by what they have to be. Bedman has to be the assassin, has to be the director of this play, and that he just gets killed by two jobbers. And
I mean, Venom has always been quite powerful. Like, that's just and even in XX, did you know Venom is one of the very few people in the entirety of Guilty Gear that knows that Faust is bald head.
Wait, really?
Yeah, he is that guy. He does know. And even Faust says, like, don't fucking call me that, you fucking bitch. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Cool, actually.
And then they get swarmed by, like, an army of, like, Robokai Mark IIs, and then they fight together.
Oh. I kind of really like that.
But
that's my, like, view on it. I think that he was just... Because if you look at, like, strong characters, eventually they end up losing their strength, or they don't fight at all. Like, Dizzy's a really strong character. And outside of self-defense and XX, she, like, never fights.
Yeah, she does.
Kai's like a really strong character, but outside of him fighting Ino, he like never fights. It's always like Sin, like Soul. Soul's still very powerful, but again, he has a limiter on him, so like, you know, 99% of the time he does not that strong.
That like Guilty Gear is just not particularly interested in fighting, but more than so that it's interested in telling like stories of these humans that feel like they have a lot of carried guilt with them.
Yeah,
I feel like that's like an argument. I feel like that's why they killed Bedman, because he has a very easy like his existence revolves around conflict, and I just feel like they felt like it's easier to kill him off than to write him in situations where he doesn't do that.
Fear, as an extreme lore Bedman nerd, how do you feel about this line of conversation? Niad was saying, where it was like Bedman had to be eliminated because of how much power he had. Do you think that's
He
true, or?
was, he was made to be overpowered. That's like one of the very first things Daisuke has said about him, that they built him to be as unfairly powerful against everyone as possible. So he was made to be that way. And like, so
do you think like Bedman was always like intended to get replaced with Delilah eventually?
That's a good question, because I think my answer is no. I don't think they ever planned for Delilah to be taking over the robot or anything like that. I think it was just something that came about because of how the writers were feeling when Strive was out. And I think it's a cool writing decision that they picked, but I don't know if it was intended always.
I don't think it was intended. I feel like Delilah was more of like a means to an end. But after they finished Xrd, because Strive started out as Xrd 3, like not that, and like you know how like it goes from Sign to Rev 2. It was like Strive started out as like not Rev 3, but like the successor to Rev altogether. That's how Strive started out in development. I feel like they just said, oh, we had this really cool character who we killed off in the same game they were introduced in, and kind of sucks because we want to do something with him. Daisuke has a panel where he talks about good character design. You want to know what that panel consists of? 80% of it is talking about Bedman. He likes the character.
Like 90%.
Yes, he loves Bedman, and it's like, damn.
He's so happy.
Damn, fuck. I killed this cool character. What do I do? And then they started like, okay, cool. Now we can like retrofit like it's like the already existing stuff for Strive. I feel like that's how they went about Delilah.
But one thing I did kind of find weird, I don't know if it's just me, but I'm like, why, like, when he died, like, why did they make him turn to stone? I did find that kind of weird.
Why did he turn to stone?
My guess is that Daisuke found it cool. I don't know. That's my guess.
I wonder if it's related to,
It was cool.
I'm not particularly versed in mythology at all. This is actually more of a question for Shmuel, or maybe even you, Jay. But isn't there like a Greek or Roman tragedy where it's like, oh, if you turn around, you turn to stone, and it's your fault because you did not trust, or something like that?
That happened in two things. So there's a Greek tragedy that's Orpheus, and then there's also a like Bible story that is in the Old Testament. So you should know this.
Fake Jew. Anyways, tell me.
What was it? Sodom and Gomorrah, when they were running, like, because it was like a city of sin. God was like, oh, I'll turn them all into salt to like punish them for their crimes for
like Drakengard.
This heresy. Yeah, no, exactly. Like Drakengard's very good. It's like a fun thing. But like, so he warns this guy and his family, like, flee Sodom and Gomorrah because they're the only righteous people in the city. And he's like, flee Sodom and Gomorrah, but if you turn around, you will also get turned into salt. And they're hearing like explosions and like screaming and crying behind them. So like, obviously a few of his family members turn around and get turned into salt. And then the same thing happens with Orpheus. He goes down because I believe it's his wife has died and she's in the underworld. So
yeah, and then he takes his wife out the underworld, and then like the only condition is, well, you're not allowed to look back while you take her out the underworld.
Yeah, you're not allowed to turn around. So I think it's a statement on like faith and like trust a little bit, and I think that's very appropriate for a character like Bedman, because I am inclined obviously to agree with you about the reason behind the way he was killed, and I think it's a big statement on autonomy. I feel like a lot of Guilty Gear,
if you look at it from like a narrative perspective, because Ariel's like pulled him out of the dream world and gave him the ability to do all that, and at the end of the day she was also like almost the reason why he got taken out again.
Yeah.
So like he that's an aspect like he got like the job to go to the underworld, and then he looked back to like he turned his back on Ariel's, and therefore he got turned to stone. So that might be a pretty
this is so cool. I never actually considered all these aspects, so it's really cool seeing it like, oh, this is literally what I was talking about before, where you can find out new things about Romeo every day as long as you think about it the right way. So
yeah. Just like I didn't even like half the shit. I didn't really even like think of. Maybe because I'm an idiot. Like, oh.
No, you're not an idiot.
I'm like, I didn't even really consider it from like a Greek mythology aspect. Like, it's so cool.
But yeah, no, it's like for just a moment, like Bedman forgot who he was working for, and then Ariel's like, oh, I'll remind you. But no, to me, I think the statue thing is also very pointed because, like I was saying, it's a statement on autonomy, and I think especially in Guilty Gear, like that's one of the core themes, is that like being a human being, exerting your will, living the way you want to live is one of the most essential obligations that every person has in their life. And I feel like Bedman, more than a lot of the other antagonists up to that point, went the furthest to deprive other people of that. So because he like really genuinely hard committed to killing people, even if he was remembering their names with full intention to revive them in the absolute world, it was him saying like, oh, your life doesn't matter in this moment, my plan is more important, because he was so dead set focused on what he needed to do. He shut out the possibility for people to help him. He shut out their own opportunities at humanity with like scant examples here and there to remind you that he's still a human being, he's still a good person, making mistakes that we can often make.
If you, that's a really
it's what
interesting
Robokai
part
says of
Bedman.
never laugh at another person's dreams.
Yeah.
The reason why I think that's so interesting is because like we have no idea how Bedman got into a situation, why he's in a hospital, why like the closest thing we know about him is that Ariels gave him like the prototype to the bed and he built more off of that. That's the only thing we know. We don't know who his parents are. We don't know like if there's any other person who's related to him. We don't know why he looks that much like Happy Chaos. We don't know why Happy Chaos has so many implications to be like related to him, not like maybe family related, but like behavior related, or like the way that they crossed paths.
No, completely agree there, yeah.
And Happy Chaos at the end of the day being the cause of Bedman's downfall. That and like why he's wearing a hospital gown, why he has his condition, why he's so dead set on saving Delilah, why he has an arrow on his head, why he's like why does he have his spikes, why does he keep them on like does he keep them on the dream world? I feel like there's a complication there as well.
I think it's so ironic for a character that has so many questions around him and has so many non-answers that the thing he's trying to do in the story is make an absolute world, a world where there are answers for every single question.
Yeah.
Like, even though he himself can't answer a single thing about himself, or no one can discern anything from him, he's barely a member of society, which is what Robokai criticizes him of.
Yeah, I think to that end, like, probably the reason why he and Happy Chaos share that affectation, why there's like the hospital symbology, I think goes again back to the autonomy thing, is the closer you get to understanding things about the backyard, the further you become from individual people, because you center yourself on the wrong thing. You know, like, Daisuke is very, like, human first, pay attention to the individuals, care about people, and when you immerse yourself in the numbers and you just regard everything as like, oh, this is just like another statistic, then it's, like, very easy to have an ends justify the means perspective on real people in the world, because it's like, oh, who gives a fuck, like, this is a 1 and a 0, stuff of that nature, so you lose that appreciation of humanity, which Bedman still maintains a little bit through that childlike naivete, when he's, like, showing Remlethal, like, okay, I know you care about your dog, because I would care too, I still have some, like, there's still something anchoring him to the world.
I don't think that's childlike naivety. I just think that's just the showcase that he is not a bad person. It shows the human side. I don't think it's childlike naivety. I feel like a lot of people like look at Bedman and they see like, oh, there's a kid tied to a bed, and like, that's the thing that you would get from looking at this character. That's what the Guilty Gear characters get from looking at this character. But looking at the amount of options, like the amount of info that we actually have on him, it's pretty clear if you don't ignore, like, if you want to not ignore facts, that he is not, like, his body is abnormal in a way that it stops growing after a certain time. Faust says this, and I remember another character says something like that, but I can't.
Chip says that he's mid to late teens.
Yeah, but that, like,
he doesn't say he is
thing, right? Chip, like, who is Chip the Bedman?
Our line has become the bane of my existence just because apparently reading comprehension is at an all-time low.
Like
if someone says
Chip is a good
he
example.
Looks like, it doesn't mean he is.
Yeah, like, how does Chip know Bedman? How does Chip know Bedman's age?
You just saw him for the first time. People were taking Slayer's word as gospel on him. It's like, Slayer didn't know he existed.
I think definitely he is, like, probably old beyond his appearance and, like, obviously capable beyond his years, but I think there's also something to be said for, like, just the thematics of deciding for them to depict him as a young person, because I feel like in a lot of ways, like, he is still naive. Like, that's why Ariels is able to, like, manipulate him so easily. Not that he is a child.
It can be part of the theming, yeah, definitely.
How ironic it is that Bedman calls Ramlethal a little girl, even though he's smaller than her and littler than her.
I mean, like, absolutely no character in Guilty Gear can be trusted on other characters' ages, when most characters call May a little girl.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
May's like 30 years old. I'm like, this is not like little girl in appearance only.
Well,
but yeah, no, like, I think he maintains a lot of that Chumibu affect that drew me to him to begin with, because, like, he's monstrously capable. He knows an insane amount of shit about the mechanics of this world, like, more so than a lot of other characters, rivaling, like, Asuka and Happy Chaos in that level of, like, raw power and competency. But he still has a lot of spheres in existence that he has neglected, like understanding human beings or the world he purports to live in and care about, which is why Robo-Kai both kind of respects and criticizes him. He's like, I see where you're coming from, but you failed to integrate yourself as a member of society and like really look at other people besides the ones you decided to make important to you. That's why Aerials can manipulate him. Because in that sense, he's still a child. It's like, oh, you can't grasp when someone's trying to get one over on you. You didn't doubt my intentions despite doing all these other things for me. And I think to Niad's point, like, it's very easy to see how he fell into that trap if he, like, literally had no other frame of reference.
You know what?
Yeah,
else
it's
is really funny?
like he fell asleep and he was like, I don't know, fucking 1 month old, and then he gets woken up out of fucking purgatory. I'm like, damn, this bitch kind of cool. Let me follow what she says. Oh.
It's also really funny that the guy that he follows is also an adult child, because Ariel's has a cutesy baby voice that she uses and constantly treats herself as a child, going up to her mother and things like that. Like, she infantilizes herself. And Bedman is someone that is desperately not trying to infantilize himself.
Yes. In that regard, they both have... Xavier, do you have something to say?
With the way that Bedman is designed, I've always seen like two main reasons for it, having looked into his development. One of them is like, a lot of his inspirations are like haunted dolls. So I think he is trying... They want him to look innocent and like petite, but also because they wanted to raise the question of maybe it's the bed that's evil. I think they wanted him to look a bit helpless.
I didn't even
So he's very small, he's very skinny, he's very frail, and the bed is like hulking and monstrous.
That the fact too that Bedman looks like he's nailed onto his bed, and the fact that he is so lifeless as the bed moves around, like his legs are hanging off in all these moves, his arms are restrained by those belts, like his eyes are constantly closed, he's always in a neutral sad expression. It's just, it's really cool.
There is one piece of concept art where it's where it goes into making the bed maybe the evil one, where it's like the bed has like a butcher knife and Bedman's like
really
even
love
more.
That one.
Oh my god, I've seen that.
And it's
I'm
like a cow skull.
On screen right now.
He has way more like restraints on him as well. Like they are all over his chest, they're on his ankles as well. Like he is put in there. He cannot move at all in that one. But also, like his clothes are like ripped on it. I know all this because I'm looking at it right now. I have the book. It's from open on my bookshelf.
You fell right into my trap. I got the book.
I do. His clothes are tattered. Like he looks way more helpless. It's kind of like they wanted to raise the question of which one of them is in control here? Is it the bed? Like is the bed like leeching off of him, or is he using the bed as a weapon?
I feel like the reason why they went with that less is because Dizzy kind of already goes for that in a not the same way, but in Xrd, like it's very much like a whole controller, whether it's Dizzy, Necro, or Undying, you know, so like the internal fight struggle is already there.
Yeah,
and you can even make the argument that Bridget already did it in XX with Roger as well, although Roger was more as an accessory, like and a weapon. You know?
Yeah, going off of the Dizzy thing, but I find that really cool because it's just like when you kind of watch in Xrd, it's just like most of the time it's just Necro and Undying kind of, you know, attacking the other opponent, and it's just Dizzy's just kind of there.
Did I just YRC twice?
So whenever Dizzy attacks, like with her jumping kick or something like that, it looks like she's like attacking accidentally.
I think to that end also, that's probably why they lean so heavily into the hospital and religious symbolism and imagery is what I was trying to say. Because like those are both instances where people come there when they're feeling exceptionally vulnerable, and then you worry about like, oh, is someone going to take advantage of me in the name of doing something they think is for my own good? And I think that's like a really poignant message with a character like that.
Oh my god, wait, I never even considered it on that level, because if I have to consider too, people that are in hospitals and that are going through great suffering are also the same people that are probably going to pray to God more than anyone else, and that's probably
There's that, and then you're putting faith into a doctor to be like, oh, they're going to take care of me, or you're putting faith in a priest or, you know, what have you, to be like, you're going to guide my soul.
It's like, adding on to that, it's like, when it comes to like a doctor and like, you know, a patient, it's like essentially like kind of giving, like metaphorically, like giving their life in their hands, like putting their lives putting their lives in their hands and be like, I trust you to, you know, not kill me.
Yeah, it's part of the doctor's code. I think there's a specific word for what the code is that a doctor must follow, and there's I forget what it is.
The Hippocratic Code.
The Hippocratic
Thank you,
Thou shalt do no harm.
But like, yeah, so I think that's kind of what they were attempting to hit on with that, and then why they also want to depict Bedman as like seemingly innocent, especially in a lot of that early concept art. It's because of, you know, there's this sense of deference to whatever deems appropriate.
Damn it.
But no, and I think just to finally like cinch up my thought about the whole statue death thing, I think that is why he specifically turns into a statue when he dies, because that is the ultimate deprivation of autonomy kind of death. Like, you go from being a person to
Niad, would you like to play with me?
Yeah, exactly.
Would you like to switch to Strive?
Please, Rock.
No.
Nope. Okay.
Sorry. I'm gonna save Strive for Delilah's episode, and this one's gonna be for Romeo, so...
Okay.
Yeah, like, Ariel shows him, like, the most essential thing that you had was conditional, and I am taking it away from you.
I mean, that wasn't her, though. That was just circumstance of, like, him
Sure, that was,
overusing, like, his
because of
power
his,
to, like...
yeah.
So she was like, well, that's good for me.
True, yeah,
She didn't directly cause it, but she was like, well, that solves one problem.
Hey, the ship fell in the right place.
Since there's a lull in the conversation now, I think now would be a really good time to bring up music. And first of all, how wonderful that Does the Sheep Count Sheep is.
Yes.
I really like it.
God,
The fact
Such a good
that
thing.
it starts off with like
It
a
is really good,
lullaby,
yeah.
and then it goes into this really evil-sounding rock. Really sounds like Dream Theater.
The live version of it. Can I quickly bring up the live version? The extended
yes.
piano solo using the violin there. It sounds so fucking good. Like,
Oh my god.
I want like a proper studio version of the live version because it's just so good.
Also, like, The Circle. Remember when The Circle was coming out and everyone hated The Circle? And what was it?
Yeah.
I never did. I was its number one defender. I would fist fight people over it.
Ever since I heard that little snippet in the trailer, I was like, this is gonna be the best song ever, and nothing has come. Nothing has come.
The Circle is literally my favorite song in all the Guilty Gear soundtrack. But also, remember when Hotashi listened to it and he was like, yet again, another pervasive Strive song into
a
my
pox upon the ears. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? Hotashi is weird because like sometimes he's like the most normal person ever, and then he's like set like fucking 1970s fucking weird fucking wordplays.
Like,
I'm like,
Sephiroth theme as he comes out with the most evil, like, weirding sounding shit ever.
Like, what are you
He's so
waffling
based on
about?
that. That's why he's my goat. We met him at EVO. He's so cool. He's so
He
cool.
gave me a $40 Teferi's protection card. It was very sweet. But yeah, bro was wilding a lot of the time.
But yeah, no, I think Does the Sheep Count Sheep is just like a really good encapsulation of what we were just talking about with regards to how his character is depicted, because yeah, you get that like very innocent lullaby introduction, then into the like hard, heavy, scary rock, which is just like so sick. And another thing that I really like about it is I love how like weird the riff is, and I feel like they do this in a lot of Xrd tracks where it feels like the guitar is like straining. And I think that that's so appropriate for Bedman, especially. It's like, something about this is not right. Like, it's not just scary because it's like, oh, it's heavy and it's threatening. It's also because it's like, it doesn't belong. Like, it's not, like, totally coherent, but I love it. It's so sick.
I think it's the fact, too, that it has the section in the middle with the piano where it just sounds really sad. Like, that's the impression I get, where it's like, oh, this is a very haunting melody, both for him and for us. And obviously, like, I really, really, really love the bass guitar in The Circle. I bought a bass so I could play it one day.
I love the guitar solo like near the end of the song, and I'm like,
I like that in the final part of The Circle, you could actually hear some of the guitar riffs that were also used in the Sheep Count Sheep.
yeah, I love them. Like, kind of like, you know, kind of sprinkle in references to previous characters' themes in Strive. I love that so much.
Yeah, that consistency is really good. It helps everybody feel super interconnected. But no, I really like AD. I think can talk more about this than anyone that I know in the world. But I'm sure all of you have like incredible thoughts about it too. I think The Circle is a fantastic character theme. More than so many of the other tracks. Even if I think I listen more to a lot of the other ones, just the sheer like angst that the Circle like
compels me towards, I think is like so profound. The way that Daisuke was able to write what I'm personally assuming as like, you know, Bedman in the throes of purgatory, being like, Jesus, why has this happened to me?
Yeah. I think it's very clear that Daisuke's two favorite characters and two favorite songs were to make were Baiken and Bedman's because of how much he puts in.
No,
Daisuke absolutely adores Bedman. He's like, this little fucking nerd is gonna get every single thing that I like, and I'm just going to push him so hard in people's faces every chance I get, to the point people have to cut me off in interviews, but then I'm gonna give him, like, no merch. Just so that no one can say I'm picking favorites.
That's like the most messed up thing, right? Because you wanna know what like Daisuke's dream merch is? It's Soul riding his motor. And he's never gotten it because he doesn't. He's not the guy that talks about merch because it's not like his thing. Like I mean, in the way of like he doesn't. How do I say this? Like he doesn't decide who gets merch.
Yeah.
If Daisuke did decide, we'd have 3 Bedman figures by now.
Came out recently. Was like, hey, we're gonna make new merch. You guys can get Soul's headband. You could get Anji's headband. You could get I forgot what the other 2 were.
Asuka's eye patch.
And it's just Soul's headband is gonna win, and which means Anji will never get merch ever in his life.
I hate everything. Also, kind of a little side tangent. It's about merch though. I was like, I've heard a lot of people kind of complain about like how much Bridget gets merch, and she deserves it. Love her. She absolutely deserves the merch she gets. But like, I do kind of get where they're coming from. I'm like, the other characters like exist too. Do you know how badly I would want a like sick ass like dynamic looking like Baiken figure? Oh my god.
I mean,
They announced
Baiken's
a
got
Baiken
like
figure
a couple
2
figures.
years ago, and it still has not come out yet.
Oh my god.
I'm just
really?
thankful Milia got a figure like a week ago. But like I saw like a couple Bridget people on Twitter were like, I'm down. It's been 2 months and no Bridget, bro. Why is all these other characters getting merch when we are getting nothing? I'm like, bro,
I know that exact tweet you're talking about. That's literally my friend Fire.
like what are you talking about?
Hold up.
Do you have like I have like lack of object permanence? Are you not able to look at your shelf and see like a wall of Bridget? Because I can't do that with Bedman. I got the only Bedman figurine in the fucking world because I paid $250 for it. Because I know a guy.
You should.
I would want. Oh, sorry. Like, do you know how badly I would love to have a figure, like a Raven figure? Like, oh my god, that would be so
Would
sick.
kill for a Raven figure. I love Raven.
Me too.
I feel like
I adore him.
I feel like when it comes to characters who get figures, they purposely avoid the ones that they could make light up. Because if you think about it, you could make like a Raven figure, like his little needle on his hands, you could make those glow. Bedman, if you made a Bedman figure and the bed's eyes couldn't light up, I think people would like kill them.
No, that wouldn't happen.
That'd be sick.
I think this is
That'd be sick though.
the Bridget figure argument. I think is a capitalist smokescreen. I think it is not. We shouldn't be asking why is Bridget getting so many figures. We shouldn't be mad at the Bridget fans for getting many figures because she deserves many figures. We should be asking why aren't all the other characters getting many figures also?
Exactly.
I'm not mad at
Bridget can get as many
Bridget
figures
fans
as well.
mostly are like
It's also
self-contained. They're
different.
like, you know what, fine, you know what, like they understand that they're getting a lot of stuff. But like, why are? Because Arc System Works doesn't make the merch. That's the thing.
Yeah,
Like
no,
they are giving the
company will
permission
ask
for other
them saying-
companies to make those like things. But like other companies are like going up to Arxis, hey, can we make Bridget stuff? And that's how it happens. Like a lot of people think, oh, it's Arxis, guys. But like Arxis doesn't like really go up against that. Like Arxis only is like, oh yeah, like we will give permission for like third-party resellers to make merch. You know, that's how it works. And a lot of companies are just
'cause
like,
they know
okay,
that's
Bridget
what
sells for sell Bridget. That's how it happens.
Because Bridget's gonna make him the most money.
Yeah,
The
most bang
Arxis
for your
store,
buck.
the Arxis store, they had like Faust's shirt from Strive, but like it
They
was
had Rem's hat.
$72 when you like include shipping.
$72?
Yeah.
When you include shipping and everything, it's $72. I think the normal price is like $60 or $70.
That's still crazy.
It's
for
perfect.
sure.
It's ugly as shit. The shirt is really fucking ugly.
No, literally. I thought it was
No, but because they like printed like a fake like wrinkles on it, and it looks just bad.
Oh yeah,
I was
like,
you one of them, huh?
It was a very big debate in my mind if I was gonna buy that or not, and I ended up not buying it.
Someone
With
who's
like the
speaking up.
cosplay, they'll either make something like perfectly accurate, or it's just like a pattern printed on a shirt, and they're like, "There you go."
Like a Halloween
I
costume.
want to buy Bedman's shirt. Like, I would wear that. It's like a normal ass
Me
shirt.
fucking too.
Please let me buy it.
I mean, this is
Ramlethal's coat looks great, so why
Yeah, I
is
wanna
the
get
Chaos
it. I wanna
thing
cosplay
like
it.
that? Can't they just give us Chaos's jacket? Like, we'll paint ourselves blue.
Like, well, DIY
He's
stuff
stupid
back.
for not selling Happy Chaos's glasses. Like, actually insane.
No, literally.
Literally.
But yeah, Dio, you were trying to say something earlier?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's relevant, but like something. But it's just like speaking of Guilty Gear shit that's insanely expensive. I find it insanely weird that like on the PlayStation Store, like Xrd signed is $50 and Rev 2 is only 20, and I'm like, what?
Wait, is that real?
Last time I checked, yeah, I'm not sure if it still
What
is.
the
but it probably
hell?
still is. But, like literally, I'm like, I find it so weird that Xrd signed.
You
is
want to
nearly-
pay an additional $30 to hear Yuri Lowenthal? Ooh!
Like it's nearly a full price game for a game that nearly came out a decade ago.
I
And
think most publishers just forget to change the prices for like PlayStation, or it's harder to change the prices because on Steam, I like signs like $10.
I wonder if
Yeah.
that's a Sony thing then. But
Maybe,
I'm reminded.
I just want a PS4.
I'm reminded now that we have to talk about Bedman's voice actor in Japanese and in English, because I think it's without question that Bedman has the best voice acting in the whole series.
Absolutely.
Unquestioned.
I had Databyte sign recently because I was looking for just the basic PNGs of Life Amusing, and I got so distracted getting to all of his voice lines because there's so many, but also the voice is just so nice to listen to.
I know, right? This just makes me all the more bitter that Revelator never got a job.
I'm so disappointed.
Yeah,
no, I mean no
Revelator
offense to
got
Japanese
so
voice
bad.
actor, because he's a great voice actor, but I am English,
Yeah.
I hear English, I speak English,
Listen.
and I would like to hear Yuri Lowenthal, who did a fucking incredible performance.
Exactly, like you get
If you want to hear both Yuri Lowenthal
so
and
bad
Hikoto
for
Midoriya
him.
voice
Because he
16
was
characters
in
and by Fire Emblem Engage.
If I speak, I'm in big trouble. If I speak, I'm in big trouble.
That was.
Oh, no.
I think the
Lowenthal
Japanese
was
voice
a
actor is
sin in,
better than Yuri Lowenthal by
Guilty Gear
a
2.
whole stretch, and then some. I
He
think
does
this,
sell some emotional
especially in the
moments a lot
story
better,
mode,
but-
it
Yeah,
sounds
yeah.
extremely unnatural with the way that like Bedman talks in English.
I think that was like a voice direction issue because I think they just told him to say everything fast instead of
To say
pacing
everything-
it.
Like fast first, emotion second, you know?
I
Yeah.
guess if I can give my hot take on it, I personally feel like I think Yuri Lowenthal sells the idea of this nerdy, evil kind of horror character better than the Japanese voice actor, but the Japanese voice actor carries his scenes a lot better, moment to moment.
emotion, yeah.
And specifically the scene I'll point to where the Japanese voice actor is better is Ramlethal's scene where he kills the dog. And it's that Yuri Lowenthal doesn't put a lot of emotion into that scene where he's like, he just kind of states things and then moves along, and then he has that one line where he gets really angry where he's like, how could you make me do this to a little girl? And then he goes and yells at Ariel. But the Japanese voice actor, if you notice, he's very calm, sweet, and very upset, like he's having to do this. Like, there's a lot of emotion in his voice as he's very sad about the fact that he has to teach this lesson at all. That's not carried through his English performance at all. And that's like a small moment that I thought was really cool.
Yeah, so basically, like, Japanese sells emotions better, but English just kind of captures the character a bit better, you know?
That's how I feel.
Okay. Yeah.
I see them both as being like equals, and I think it's because I listen to both of their voice performances a lot. I mean, I'm the person who unearthed the 15 minutes of Midorikawa counting sheep and listened to all of it. They're
Pretty
both,
cute, though.
Yeah,
they're both very good voice actors. I think Yuri Lowenthal had a direction problem, and it's not that he's bad at voicing Bedman,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
like the direction fucked up somewhere.
yeah.
Especially because like
agree.
Midorikawa has complained about it too. I think like Xrd.
Really?
Yeah, like in his secret voices, he's like, "Please never make me do this again. This was annoying." Like, he dreads the fast talking. He absolutely dreads it.
Yeah, I
think,
feel
like-
like when it comes to Xrd, like,
I mean, you're good at it
precisely,
though.
there are just some moments where just like some characters' lines could have been delivered better. Like, I'm like a dub enthusiast. I very much am a dub enthusiast, but I'm like, there are just some lines I'm like, you couldn't You could have done
We
another
talk
pick.
about how
You know?
much Sol and Kai just fucked up their roles in Sign. Like, they just, both of them
They
gave
got
really
better.
bad performances.
I mean,
No,
Stop.
you're not gonna hate on the best fucking sub in like English history. Axel is like the best character ever inside. I don't care.
He absolutely is amazing
I
in
have
that
finally
game.
found this timeline's breast. I mean, version of you.
And then it's just like, okay, please do a worse British accent.
See, my opinion is that I really like
Axel?
Octopimp Axel, and he makes
Me
him sound
too.
goofy and silly.
I know.
He does sound very goofy in Japanese as well, so I think they were trying to match it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry,
Honestly, like, but one performance, oh fuck, I forgot what was
Performance?
Oh wait, no, I was gonna say Ariel's performance in Revelator was so good. Like her,
Oh, it was really
it's the
fucking
reason
good.
why I like consider myself the hater because her voice performance in Rev was so good. Like, oh my god.
I feel bad for Yuri Lowenthal. He was Sin in Guilty Gear 2, and then got
He was.
recast to Bedman, and then Bedman got killed off.
Guys,
This is
wait!
why we have to hope for like the after story to just fucking jump scare us with Bedman,
Guys.
because then we get a new voice actor for him.
Can we talk about how great the voice acting is for Bedman and Strive? Oh my god, his favorite was when he said it's betting time. That was my favorite time.
Bet it all over.
We have to hope for the after story to jump scare us with him, because like then we'll get a Korean voice actor
Like,
for
I'm
him.
close to the character.
Korean Bedman, oh my god.
Oh, I haven't actually heard Korean Bedman.
It's
Well, we
gonna
don't
be,
have one, but-
guess of
Oh, is there not one, or am I dumb? I'm being stupid.
There's no Korean dub for Xrd.
Oh, I thought you were talking about.
But-
I was
There is
kinda
one
like,
for
oh,
Strive, but not for
Yeah,
So
that's why I
if
want
we get like a
him. I'm seeing
flashback
that
scene
my
with
mom.
Bedman, we will get Korean Bedman.
We should fully arc sis.
Do you guys speak American? Or like German? Because he's got a German last name, right? But I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
he's,
He might be German. There's a joke. I was talking to one of my friends about this. His name is Shiki. He was saying like there's a joke in the Japanese fan base that if you are German in Guilty Gear, you are doomed to suffer as much as possible. Oh my! Because you have Leo and Raven.
So much sense. Like, context is Leo, and especially his drive theme. Because I'm like, every time I listen to Hellfire, I'm like, is he okay? Is he like?
I mean, it's Leo's in
do
German,
gay
right?
men experience PTSD? Is that what it
Literally,
is?
like, I'm like, I swear to God, the next after story better be him getting fucking therapy. The next after story in Strive, Leo gets therapy.
The go first.
Survivor's Guilt. But yeah, no, I think that definitely tracks, especially with how the circle is written. Like I was saying, like just the most angsty song, or one of the more angsty songs on the soundtrack that he
I just
finally
think it's really
created this
weird how
word for
Oscar
Delilah
has a
for.
German name, and then like Bedman has a German name, and then in Rev, Oscar says like, yeah, Bedman is really, really alike to me, and then that's never explained. Like, what did he mean by
what?
this? What like?
They both have light-colored hair and are nerds.
I feel like Oscar Baby kind of lurks on Reddit sometimes too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no,
He's on Reddit.
he's on
Better,
Reddit.
they better not be talking shit about me.
While we're at it,
He's on r/science.
Bedman, I think, personally has the best instant kill, either him or Dizzy. Just, it's so
yeah,
wonderful
yeah.
that this
I
is
read
how you
instant
can
kill.
learn
I
about
fucking
little
love
bits about
that
the
thing.
characters.
I don't know why, but I really like Ravens, even though it is the most confusing.
Ravens is
one.
great.
I love
Ravens is my favorite.
Because it tells you so little. Like you're like, what the hell did he do?
He will
And then
kill
they,
himself to kill you. That is so cool.
Literally. And then he fucking. Also, I love his intro and his outro. In the Xrd. So good.
Zato's insta-kill is so bad.
It's
I know.
No,
We-
Zara, he knows.
We have
very
instant
well.
kill at home type shit.
It's so funny how like Bedman has
All he
one of the
does is
best
he puts his
skills,
hand on the
and
floor,
Dota
that's
has
it.
one of the worst. And then they were both in the location test that allowed you to instant kill for the first time. And you're like, here's the full spectrum of instant kills, just so you know. It's either really good or really fucking bad.
Exactly.
I guess maybe to go back to the gameplay side, do you guys have any cool moments where you've used Bedman? Like, have you played in any tournaments or had any cool moments against friends or anything?
I am such a bully with him. I am the worst bully known to man. I will purposely like act innocent just to
So-
to beat the shit out of him.
Literally.
Because it would be
I
like,
can't-
oh, friendly.
like I
And they
can't
get
really say-
Beybladed.
get Beyblade.
I actually have
think
a history of
because-
going to tournaments with Bedman across Europe. I've
I've seen your clips. You're so
Yeah.
cool.
I've gotten 4th at Hessen Crash in Germany, and I've gotten 2nd at Brussels Challenge in Belgium.
Cool. I find it so ironic that I'm hyperfixating on a fighting game, yet I barely. really
You are valid
understand
for that. You are
the fighting
completely
game aspect. I'm just like, Lord.
Yeah.
literally same. And I'm trying to think. I think we've covered a lot of aspects about Bedman already, so we might be nearing the end. But I do want to make sure you guys, now would be a good time to bring up any other, like, little plot threads if you want to bring them up, or any facts you guys haven't had the chance to talk about yet.
Asking me for just random Bedman facts is asking to like me to info dump for an hour. I know everything. Me too. I have the most niche Bedman knowledge known to fucking man.
I'd love
stored in my head.
What? You're not
I mean,
allowed to
I
do that.
feel
That's cheating. Only I'm allowed to do that.
As much as I'm into Bedman, I feel like I'm a lot more feral for Delilah. Like, I love her so dearly.
I also really, really love Delilah.
The more attached you get to Bedman, either the more you're going to dislike Delilah because of like all the strife stuff, with like how the bed just gets cut out for her, or the more you're going to be like, this is my daughter, and I will kill anyone who says anything bad about her.
No, I feel like every
baby.
single
I love it.
every single real Bedman fan doesn't dislike Delilah at all. That's what I feel.
Exactly. I've seen this one
Some people
mod.
are very
love her.
respectful.
No, I saw this one mod for Strive where it takes, when you play as Bedman, it takes out Delilah, so it's just the bed, and I'm like, you
Delilah gets grounded.
Yeah.
Well, like, what's the point?
she's
What's
grounded.
the point here?
do that. Look at her.
That was the first mod uploaded for Bedman as well. That's the most fucked up thing. Ever.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
Look at it!
I think that was just like a day one thing
People
that
complain
people
that she
like.
was there because like she's blocking the screen and it's already hard to tell what the fuck Bedman is doing.
Yeah,
So
I
from
am.
that
is
angle,
why
I can see
I'm
why
also
it's
like-
getting rid of her.
Like Delilah has a like she'll like show if Bedman's like blocking low or blocking high, that kind of thing.
Hold
She
on,
does
it's
move
okay.
like-
She does have some tells that like you make it somewhat easier to tell what Bedman is doing, but not like.
Delilah being there makes
Yeah.
it easier to tell what's happening. Yeah, because like she has a lot of tells, especially like how she moves regarding to error 6E stuff. Because it makes it easier to react to, especially like the resets.
Yeah, but when Bedman came out, everyone was like, this is a distraction. Like, this is just more shit on the screen that doesn't need to be there. So people really wanted her gone. It was sad.
It was sad.
Well,
This reminds me.
Strive
I really
players
had-
don't like labbing anyway, so the moment that they get, it's like, oh, I have a problem that I need to like lab, and it's like, no, it's the game's fault, and then they like complain.
I really
Anyway, you
want
were saying?
to talk about the fact that the design differences between Bedman and Delilah, where Delilah is Bedman's inverted colors and has that more muted gray palette.
Oh my God,
Delilah
yes.
is wearing leggings and is not showing her skin as much as Bedman is. And obviously the up arrow,
Also,
because
has
she
shoes.
ends up with a positive outlook on life compared to him, and she ends up like smiling in the end compared to him, where he's just a never-ending tragedy. Oh my God, you are completely fucking me up.
With Bedman and Delilah's design, the like sad consequence of it is that they don't look related. Because everywhere
only thing
Bedman's design is sharp, Delilah is soft. So they don't have the same
Yeah.
eye shape, they don't have the same face shape, they don't have the same nose shape, like nothing is the
They
same
don't even have the
across
same
them.
eye color.
I hope.
Yeah,
I hope at
plus
some.
the
I hope
arrow
at some point in the Strive story we get at least one like Delilah Bedman style monologue.
Yeah, where she just like geeks
I
out.
wanted to just rant for like a paragraph at some point.
Yeah.
Well, apparently
too.
she does.
In the way that that Bedman is very loud, Delilah is so muted. She only
Yeah.
speaks in like 3-word sentences, and then the fact that in her hobbies it reveals she does talk a lot, but she
She does,
writes
yes.
a lot. She's
gonna
very
bring that up.
into her diary, which is so cute.
I was gonna bring that up. That was literally what I was gonna say. And yeah, kind of going back to the previous topic real quick about Delilah. I love her English voice so much. One of my favorite English
So
voices
good.
in Strive, though.
I think she's a character on the Loud House or something too. So obviously she's very
Yeah,
used
I
to voicing
think
that
so.
kind of character.
Hold on, let me go.
I have a. I put this on the wiki, so even if like this is something that other people know, I get to share it. So in Strive,
The inside scoop.
most characters in Strive have 3 lines for when they get a Faust Afro put on them. The exception to this is Bedman in Delilah. They have 5 lines.
Really? Oh, so
Yeah.
wait, they really do talk a little more.
Yeah.
They do talk a lot.
Cool.
Those
Isn't
lines
Johnny's
are, a
like-
hair transplant? Is this permanent? Ooh, Fluffy, how grown up, and me too, because she also gets a afro.
I love how
I
it's
don't know
Johnny's
how
your hair in a
Faust does it twice
ponytail.
at the same time, but...
A little laugh. I love that it's like a really big pom pom for her, and then
I
she's like, oh.
know! As somebody who
And
had
Johnny's like, no, Johnny's card attack. I don't know what the fuck its name is. I dodge it all the time. I literally just
Joker shake,
and
yeah.
that solves it.
Like the
Doesn't he
Batman
say like
from-
pipe
like,
down
Joker from
exclusively
the-
for Bedman?
I don't think it's
Yeah.
exclusive, but I do think it's funny that he says that.
I think he feels bad hitting a 12-year-old, or like at least like the robot.
I think it's supposed to be pipe as in metal as in machine. That's what I think it is.
He says pipe down. He's
This
like,
almost
"Don't
down.
you
just
shut
thinking
up."
of the podcast episode where we were talking about puns.
Oh my god!
Let's see, I'm trying to think. Is there anything else about Bedman?
There's
I
so
like
much
how
about
twitchy the robot
Bedman.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like how it laughs when it air
That is so cute.
I know. It's just it's just a little goober. I love this so much.
I love
really
how...
like that.
There's another
the
thing.
grab is, he just grabs you and, like, forces you on the bed and then, like, exposed wiring, like, electrocutes you.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah.
And
that
it's
stuff.
fucking scary. I really love how actually scared I could get if I really sat down and looked at some of Bedman's moves.
Yeah,
like
the
that
bed is
power
terrifying, but to me
They-
it's like cute
like-
sometimes.
In Xrd, I feel they really tried to go the full way of, like, this is a person that is asleep with, like, the alarm clock super and, like, the counting sheep thing, and then, in
Yeah.
Xrd, and then Strive, they go really hard on, this is a, like, broken down robot with,
it's still just
the exposed
posting.
wiring,
The
like, the
I actually know the
errors.
reason for why he has an alarm clock in his mouth. Because they talked
Why?
about it in an interview.
They
It's
did?
there because they were like, is Bedman too scary? So they wanted to make him a little bit funny, so they made one of his overdrives an alarm clock. Because it was like, you know, the alarm clock's ringing, but it's not waking the person in the bed up. That's why it's there. They thought he
How
was
much
too
little
scary.
detail they put into this. That is actually so cool.
Yeah.
Even like his weird like Task B animations as well. Like most of his weird animations were because they were like, he's too scary. I actually wonder what
Yeah,
Bedman was
silly
like
little guy.
originally.
Heroes in the audience. They gotta tone that shit down.
I think one of the funniest like mini stories about Batman outside of like stories is like in-game story is that I could
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
sorry.
the taunt.
no it was funny because he taunted and I taunted as well.
I hadn't meant to. I slipped, but
Is there's like a recurring theme of like a Bedman player fighting Slayer players, and I don't know why.
Oh
It's,
my!
but like it just keeps happening. It keeps happening
It's
all
in the
across.
story.
Fucking
Probably 'cause-
whether it's like Damon Doe,
Canonical.
GC Yoshi, KB Nova, and like this other Bedman player, I believe, me or like this other like girl at my local who's like really good. As like damn, why are all these Bedman players fighting all these Slayer players, and why did it happen in this story? That's kind of cool. I like that a
Talk
lot.
about-
Clash of the,
Oh my
the Clash
God.
of the low tiers.
the incredible amount of Sakuga that the Bedman versus Slayer fight gets, like, and the fact that Slayer just casually takes himself off the spikes and is like, well, alright, now I'm gonna take you seriously, let's go.
You made me use.
And then when Bedman's like, "I'll take you seriously," they're like, "Stop the fight! Stop the fight! You're not seeing 8%."
No, we're not blowing up the
8%
continent,
of
guys.
the
No,
power.
we're not doing it.
Oh, I forgot to mention this too. I really like that Bedman doesn't have a dash in this game, and when Bedman does dash, it's like, nothing personal, kid.
Yeah.
That teleport
Oh yeah, yeah.
His teleports are so fun. Like, I do love that we have more with his teleports too. Like we know how they work. The further he goes, the longer it takes him to do it.
It makes
So
sense
it's
that
actually
lines
used
up
as
with
like a
his
weakness.
K-Fireball, right?
That's just on contact. I wouldn't say that's lore related, but I guess you could see it as that, yeah.
Thought it'd be a little cute if it was.
He doesn't
Alright.
literally throw the head to teleport, but yeah.
You dodged that by taunting. Or like by going idle. Oh my god. Bedman's idle makes him go very low to the ground, so yes, that's a thing.
Shout out to
just
Bedman
doing-
for having moves that get blocked by doing nothing.
You could win as Bedman by doing nothing if you really think about it. Like if you were fighting like any character that damages themselves, like Faust, you can win by doing nothing.
Yeah.
Just sit there, like go idle, and like most of his moves will go over you.
Luigi wins by doing nothing. No, not the YRC. No.
High or low?
All right. And with that, I guess that's the end of the podcast episode.
Wow.
I think we went on for like 2 hours.
Yeah, we
Oh
got
boy. It could have been longer if, like, just like...
Could have been
if I
another
went
2 hours,
full
honestly.
info dumping, this would have been like 5 hours.
Hey, there's always a second chance for info dumping because, of course, there's also the Bedman episode, so...
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Ooh, this would be like a part 1, the Bedman would be like a part 2 kind of thing.
Episode 1, the bed. Episode 2, the man.
Yeah, we have so much stuff to say, it becomes like an anecdote where it's like, okay, here comes part 2, and like a whole new chapter.
Yeah.
Bedman guided.
We info dump in this one.
He's so big, it's so scary.
What is this diva?
Man. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining with me today. Do you guys have any other last comments? I guess I can go in a row. Theo?
Oh god, no, I don't really have much to say, but like, yeah, I'm very normal about these two, the bed sibs, and I'm just very normal about the bed sibs in general. My favorite Redditors.
So normal.
So true, bestie.
So normal that I made a 1,000-page essay about the circle.
Yes.
Jay, what do you have to say about Romeo?
I love this tortured poor Chinyugi boy, and I think it's so funny that he's also a little bit silly.
Niad?
Hey man, I might be like 188, but I rep all short kings.
Let's go!
I'm going for it!
Toxic?
I just noticed this when I used like the comment feature to like have the text fly across the screen. I got an achievement, and the icon for the achievement is Bedman.
Yeah.
Xrd has so many cute little quirks like that.
So Romeo's just a sleepy little guy. That's all.
So eepy. Why is he eepy?
So eepy.
Why he's so EP?
He has consumed my life, he has consumed my bank account, I'm not even kidding about that, by the way, and I regret absolutely none of it. He's the best character in the world, thank you.
Let's go.
Honestly, that's really Jacko and Johnny for some
I
reason.
just spent 100
And I love
pounds on
Romeo
Bedman.
too. And before
don't know.
the episode ends, I need to say, I fucking called the fact that his name would be Romeo and that he'd be named after, what's his called? Freddie Mercury's
Mercury.
cat. That was all me. I guessed it.
No.
And I can everyone for the rest of the
That was me!
I'm just happy his name isn't Jerry, dog.
Funny story about his
Could have
name.
been named Goliath.
If my favorite character got his name revealed to be Jerry, I'd kill myself.
Listen, Maya, I feel like a similar situation with Fire Emblem. Like, Gris dies, and then he gets replaced by a guy called Gregory.
Let's go, Gregory. Daniel.
Greg Heffley.
Okay, but it also, Bedman's name also could have ended up being Tom. So imagine it's like, oh yeah, this guy already
I could tolerate Tom because you know what, Tom, like you can you can lengthen Tom, and it could be like something normal, like
Thomas.
like Thomas or Thomason or something like that. How you gonna make Jerry elegant? How you gonna do that? How you gonna introduce a theater kid named Jerry?
Gerald.
I think that's even worse, honestly. I think congratulations, you made it worse.
Well, you know, that's just Gerald Finn F. Newman, you know.
Speaking of his name, can I ask one final quick question? What do you all think the F stands
I was
for
literally
in
gonna
Romeo
say that.
F. Newman?
Fuck.
And
No idea. I do think
Like,
it's cool
Romeo
that
fucking Newman.
that Newman is a reference to a real life scientist, and particularly an explorative scientist that traveled the world and documented most fauna. He even had discovered some animals, like an owl.
I saw online that he was also tied with the atomic bomb. Is that true?
If I speak, I'm in big trouble. I'm not sure about all that. I just know about his other side.
No, funny story about him and his name. Like, the way I found out, like, I watched a video on his arcade mode in Strive, and Delilah just kind of name drops Romeo, and I was like, fuck is that? And I was
I
like,
remember the day when his name got revealed. I remember seeing
Everybody
His
was up
name
in
of
arms.
Bedman.
Like, that shit was huge.
I gotta say, I I never felt so connected to an author when before Bedman dropped, I was like, Delilah's arcade mode is going to be when we find out Bedman's name, and I was the only. I feel like I was the only one that was showing this stuff, and I don't know why I was so hooked on this. And then it happened, and I felt like I almost wanted to cry. I was like, oh my god, it happened!
I remember the fucking day. I remember seeing like the first picture. It was fully in Japanese. I went.
One of those characters. Last thing I want to talk about his name is that Xavier pointed it out like a couple months ago, and I thought it was really funny because nobody calls Bedman Bedman, and I don't think he gave himself that title. I think he just works anonymously.
Potemkin did.
Potemkin did. Yeah, Potemkin says it's Bedman, and I'd be like, I kind of like that name. I'm Bedman now.
No, he's like, sure, I guess.
Potemkin does. Potemkin is the first character canonically, chronologically, to name Bedman Bedman. Before even Bedman himself introduces himself.
Anyone calls him Bedman or he refers to himself as Bedman is after he meets Potemkin. And then also Gabriel also calls him Bedman. Even
we
though
have to talk about that. This is literally the only thing Potemkin has contributed to lore ever.
Put some respect on my guy.
He doesn't have time to be in the plot. He's too busy busting.
Potemkin's a busy guy. He's got better things to do, like drawing.
Yeah, exactly.
Finding big pencils
take away, kill Chip.
I love the pot chip matchup because it's 10-0 for both sides.
Don't get hit. Just don't let him get hit.
But yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm gonna end the podcast episode now. Bye.
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 Bye.